Okay, three things. Shamia, you should have stayed a friend of the show. Kelly and Drew, you handled yourself very well this reunion. I'm not even a fan of yours, but I got to give it to you. And I'm going to add one more in. Angela and Charles Oakley, I love y'all.
Welcome to the Asia Esterak Hour, where film meets conspiracy and pop culture gets a reality check. From sharp recaps to sci-fi theories and media deep dives, Asia Esterak serves it unfiltered. Let the binge begin.
All right, welcome back to the Asia Esterak Hour. I am Asia Esterak. All right, the Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 16, Reunion Part 3. This reunion could have been one episode. Just want to point that out. Okay, so we are right into the drama ending with last week with Shamia and Portia still going back and forth. The consensus is that Portia and Shamia have hurt each other. At one point, Portia brings up, well, Portia feels like Shamia joined the show to like get at her. And I don't disagree. I mean, Shamia, you're over here showing text messages. You've done that before. I said that in my other reviews. So your movement is suspect. And the fact that you're not owning it is really crazy to me. What's interesting though is they obviously have a deep-rooted beef that even goes back with their moms. I mean, Portia brought up her mom. Long story short, and I actually learned this, if y'all should go and check it out on the House of Aaron YouTube channel. He actually did a whole thing. He spoke to somebody very close to the situation, but about Shamia and Portia's mom. Sorry, I'm like falling. But it just seems like the mom's beef has carried into their beef a little bit, and it's not good. And I will say this, Shamia, the fact that you can't tell people how you really feel in the moment, that's not good, babe. We're the same age. We're 44 years old. And you still don't know how to tell somebody if they hurt your feelings, like to the point where you're holding a grudge against them and talking about them to others. That's not good. And I don't care how you feel about Shamia or Portia. That's not a good thing. That's not good, especially if that's supposed to be your friend. If you had real issue with Portia, you should have brought it to her. And it seems like you didn't. You just wanted to perpetuate something. I don't know, but it's very creepy. That left a bad taste in my mouth. That whole segment. And Portia, you should have left the mom shit out of it. I wouldn't have brought that up on an Instagram story or even on this platform. But I understand why she did it. Listen, when you keep, again, I say this, when you keep poking the bear, I say it in every review. When you keep poking the bear, do not be surprised if the bear pokes back. Shamia, you kept poking at Portia and she started poking back. And what's crazy is you poked so hard at her that you poked a little bit and revealed who you are too. Because it's a shame, but my opinion of you has changed drastically. I guess you're human after all. Anyway, so we get to Drew's segment. I want to say this. I'm not a fan of Drew. I pretty much drag her. I dragged Drew a lot. I do. I just find her role on the show kind of useless. I mean, she doesn't really, to me, she doesn't bring much to the show. She brought her marital stuff from day one. So it's either we're talking about that or it's some issue with the other ladies. And it's never anything authentic. I did enjoy watching her do Candy's movie because she isn't, she can act. I mean, she was great on The Game. She was great in the TLC movie. But I just feel like on this show, there's nothing going on. There's just nothing going on. Now, all that being said, so they run her package, and of course they talk about the divorce with Ralph, him living, Lord, downstairs, her living above stairs. They show the scene with her and her mom, which was a really rough scene when her mom basically said, your kids are being affected by this, this divorce, this separation with your husband. They're acting different. And the fact that she didn't see it and she ends up, she cries in the scene and she sees it. I actually said in my review of that episode that that's the realest I've ever seen Drew. And I agree. Well, of course I agree. I said it. But what I mean is I stand by that. And in this, I got to give it to her. In this reunion, I felt like Drew was very present. I think she somewhat owned her stuff, but I felt truthfulness from her. I felt genuineness, and I normally don't feel that from Drew Sidora. I just don't. But after the package, Andy asked her about her kids, because that was what they ended on, and she's like, "Yeah, my kids are in therapy. I noticed that, and I took care of it." I respect that so much because I dragged her in my review. Like, how do you not notice these things? So I love that. I also think Drew and Ralph are very similar. I really do. I do think a lot of what they do with each other is calculated. And sometimes I do think it's motivated by the cameras. Absolutely. And you know what? I don't judge them for that. I don't fault them for that at all. We're on reality television. This their currency is their life. Let's keep it real. That's why we tune in. But I think there's a better way of going about it. Ralph coming at her the way that he does is totally insane. Even down to the whole house stuff. It's very petty and it's gross. And my thing is, one day your kids are going to see that. I'm kind of jumping all over the place with Drew. So real quick, not only did I love Drew this reunion and just how she was handling herself, she was eating Shamia up. She wasn't letting Shamia get away with anything. She called her out every time she lied. Shamia, you was lying all through this shit, girl. Lying. Shamia, a lot. A whole lot of lying. A whole lot of passing the buck and not really accountability, which is what, to me, Drew normally does, and she didn't do any of that. I mean, give or take. But anyway, so they have a break. The guys come out. We continue with the Drew stuff. Ralph, look, Drew, how are you married to Ralph this long? He's so annoying. And I guess he's good looking. I'm able to recognize that he's attractive to somebody. He just ain't attractive to me. That mouth and attitude and shape of head is a no for me. It's a hard no for me. So Ralph brings up, he talks about, they get into the whole Drew, Dennis, and the whole misconception over this text. Ralph says that Drew told him that Dennis was hitting on her. And she's pissed. And you know what's funny? I believed her. She was like, "You're really going to get on here and lie on me again?" Like, she was over it. Just the way he was telling the story, I don't know. And here's the thing. Maybe they're both lying. Who knows? My thing is, who cares? You're getting divorced. And another reason I don't believe that, Ralph, is why would Drew tell you that? Why would she give you any type of fuel? Why would she do that? That didn't even make sense to me. That made no sense to me. I'm just saying, none at all. Dennis, I think there was more to that text because he was backtracking like a mug. Homeboy was moonwalking all out of that conversation. Even Portia was like, "Well, then what was the, what did you mean by that text?" He kind of gave some, politician template answer and moved past it. But whatever. Drew, I think it's good that you're getting away from your husband. He's weird. He says all that, then he makes comments about you, made that shitty comment on Twitter about your mom, which was totally disrespectful. The fact that he still hasn't apologized is crazy to me. I don't care if you saved her mom from a burning building. If you two are in a divorce, the mom is going to say what she wants in the divorce about the situation. It is what it is. He's very petty, and it's a peek into their marriage. It really is. He's a tit for tat kind of guy, which is the worst. That's somebody that never learns their lesson. It's one of those, I know you are, but what am I? One of those type of folks. That's not good. Anyway, Drew, get away from him. They also, before the guys come out, they all jump on Drew and the whole Ty thing and her dating this guy Black. Here's what I figured out about Drew, and it isn't even me. My homegirl Tatiana said this. Drew is a church kid, and a lot of church kids, and even they want to appear a certain way in public. I'm not saying that for all church kids. It just seems like Drew wants to present herself a certain way in public. So for her, probably in her head, it's inappropriate to be dating while you're still married, even though you're going through a divorce. And she don't want her business out there like that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. She's calling these people her friend. Us as the audience, y'all as the people around her, you guys have to roll with that. I think it's pretty obvious her and Ty were more than friends. I can't prove it, but the energy and vibe tells me so. This guy Black, we ain't never seen him, but it's alluding that it is. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I could see her petty ass husband, Ralph, using that against her. The fact that he denied a woman being downstairs when she said that she saw her is wild. Because here's the one thing. I'll say this. I can't believe I am like pro Drew. What's happening to me? Asia, are you okay? I call it as I see it. I just didn't think she did anything wrong. Here's my thing. Drew is not lying about who she's friends with. She's like, yeah, I'm friends with Ty. I talk to her a lot on the phone because, you know, they brought up that 3,000 hour a minute a month conversation that Ming said on Basketball Wives. They brought all that up. She didn't deny any of it. I got to give her that. She denied none of it. She said, that's my friend. Yeah, I talk to her a lot. She helped me through something. The dude Black, she didn't deny it. Yeah, that's my friend. And then she proceeded to promote her friend's hookah bar and brought treats for everybody. Listen, that's Drew. It's crazy that she's been on this show 5 years and I'm finally understanding her a little bit. I don't always agree with her. Another thing that Drew wanted to acknowledge with Portia, they were arguing over, now we're back when they're back with the guys. They start arguing over the fact that the whole text thing and filming with Dennis. Portia's whole thing was, I didn't know about any of that, about you guys working together. I only brought it up when I knew that you guys were filming, because that was an issue for me. And Andy asked Dennis, like, why didn't you tell Portia? He's like, we kind of had a small conversation. They seemed like they weren't on the same page with that, but he was like, you know, I wanted to speak to Ralph directly. Ralph is my friend in real life, and I thought she would handle the female part of it. Drew's like, I did reach out to you saying that I wanted to talk to you, and you never called me back or responded to that. And Portia's like, well, you seem like you wanted to kiki about the new girls more than talk about that. And Drew's like, I did want to. I told you I wanted to talk to you about something. Portia's whole thing was that you should have just wrote it in a text, like, hey, I'm filming with Dennis, blah, blah, blah. They weren't seeing each other's side. I saw both their sides. I understand. I get it. Portia's like, shoot me a text real quick. Hey, I want to chat with you. We need to talk real quick. I'm shooting with Dennis. Do you have time later to talk about it? I'm filming with Dennis. I get it. Also get Drew's side, where Drew's like, I want you to understand that I really was reaching out to you about it. And they didn't agree on that, because Portia's thing is like, what am I being accountable for? You know, everybody's language is different. And it seems like Drew wanted to have a verbal conversation about that, and she didn't want to do it through text. That's apparent. And what's her face didn't want to talk about it. I don't know. I feel like I feel like Drew and Portia looking at all of this again, having to relive it all again, it was very unnecessary. It could have been resolved with a text message and a phone call. You know, the reality is the biggest relationship in jeopardy on this show is clearly Portia and Shamia. And now we see why. So anyway, we move on to Charles and Angela. I love Charles Oakley. I think he's an attractive man. He's more attractive now than when he was younger. But they get into their marriage. Andy points out that people think that, you know, he seems to act like he doesn't like Angela. And he's like, no, you know, she knows what it is. I love that he's like, I'm not putting on for cameras. I am who I am all the time. They talk about the baby thing. She tells the whole Wendy Williams story again. That's messed up that Wendy Williams did that. I love you, Wendy, but that wasn't nice. That wasn't very nice. Andy brings up Sheree. And we all know how Angela feels about her man. We find out that him and Sheree, they definitely dated for a few years. And Angela didn't really want to get into that. Charles points out the fact that people keep saying they know him. And he's like, I don't know any of you guys. He's like, everybody's so worried about me. You know, why are y'all worried about me? Worry about your own husbands. Where are your husbands? I'm the only husband here. That was hilarious. Everybody was laughing. Even my thing is, he was right. Because his whole thing is, you guys keep saying you know me. They talk about it with Phaedra, and Phaedra's like, I've been at parties with you. And he's like, yeah, you've been at parties with me. And she's like, I met you through Sheree. And he's like, we've been at parties together. That doesn't mean that you know me. He does the same thing with Shamia. Shamia's like, I've met you several times. They mentioned somebody named Dominique, a mutual friend's wedding. And he's like, yeah, we met at the wedding, but you don't know me. We've met. You don't know me. They talk about his relationship with Angela's mom, and it seems like the mom never got to verbally say how she felt to him before she passed. That kind of sucks. It's sad. It's sad to see Angela talk about her mom, because you can tell she really misses her. All in all, this whole 3 parts could have been 1 hour. It could have been 1 part, but whatever. We get it. Get your money on Bravo, NBC Universal. This was a fun season. A lot of filler. I hope next season is better. I'm curious. Apparently they're bringing everybody back, obviously, except for Drew. That's wild that Kenya's not coming back. That's wild. I'm curious who they said they're going to bring 2 new ladies on. I hope they vet them well. I'm hearing names in the blog, and I don't know. I heard K. Michelle. I heard K. Michelle's name, and I heard Mimi Faust. That's interesting. That would be a very interesting mix. I can't see K. Michelle. I could see Mimi. I can't see K. Michelle. Because K. Michelle get everybody together. Listen, if K. Michelle got on the Real Housewives of Atlanta, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Anyway, thank you for coming on this review journey with me for this season. It was all right. Let's see how season 17 does. In the meantime, stay hydrated. Be nice to each other. I'm gonna get out of here and go return some videotapes.